Hello, G1s, and welcome to episode 13 of the G1 Features Podcast, your number one podcast show ever of all time, uncontested. Fuck every other podcast around. We're the very best one. Okay, that may not be true. We're, all five viewers of us. But to those five viewers, we're the very best. I hope.
I mean, Podquisition still exists. So.
Pop position's alright. It ain't G1 Features.
I mean, they do have Laura Kate, though.
Laura Kate. More like Laura. I can't think of anything.
Yeah, no, I was thinking as well. It's just like
Bait.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay, this went absolutely nowhere.
no.
My name is Madhero. I'm here with Gear. How you doing, good sir?
I'm doing pretty good. I got the new Earth Defense Force finally arrived.
Oh god, you've been talking that game for so long to have it actually come out now in your hands and you playing it. It's just kind of like it's like closure.
Yeah, I was literally about to say it's closure, and it's just as all right as I was anticipating.
Just as all right as you're anticipating.
Yeah, because Earth Defense Force as a series has never been hugely popular or has good budgets
Oh no,
or are well made. So I'm playing it on PS4 and it's just the texture pop-in is horrendous, first of all.
Mm-hmm.
It's got some pretty bad frame rate issues when the screen gets really busy, and it's a game full of giant insects, so the screen tends to get really busy.
Yeah, I saw a very little bit of your streaming and also
Well, thank you.
Yeah, just a very tiny bit of it. It was Champions League, so I watched that, of course. No offense.
Yeah, fair enough.
But, yeah, I did pop in a bit just to see, how it looked.
And it looks alright. It looks like it looks like an end of the last gen game.
End of last gen as in, end of PS3.
Yeah.
I was gonna say more end of PS2.
Oh, no. Come on.
It, from the images they post and the bit that I saw at the end, it looks like a very late PS2, early PS3 game.
No, it does look better than that. I can confirm, maybe it didn't come across well on the stream, depending on how your internet is, but from what I've played, it doesn't look like current gen. It's no Quantum Break. But it's I could see this being on PS3, and in fact, it is an upscaled, it is a remaster of a last gen game, so that does actually make a lot of sense.
Yeah. I guess. It does look kind of I'm maybe going a bit too far with old PS3. It looks PS3-esque, and that may make sense because it's a port of a PS3 game.
It's a remaster. They've added new content and stuff as well. It is really fun though.
Okay, that's what it's all about, of course.
So much fun! And that's why I love it. It's the production values on it are not quite as good as they probably should be to sustain what they want to do, but I'm having so much fun with it. I recently unlocked a rocket launcher that has a pretty good lock on and can fire 30 missiles at once.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, Earth Defense Force, it's interesting, because when did you first play the series? I'm just curious.
I got, let's see, I first heard of the series from an extra credits video. They were yeah, this series is it's kind of bonkers, but the production values aren't great on it, but there's a PC version, and I was just oh really? Tell me more. So I put it in my Steam wishlist and waited for a long time. And suddenly it was 75% off on Steam, and I'm sweet! This looks like a riot, and so I played it, and I think I've played it for 20 hours by now.
Jesus.
Yeah, I love, and that's Earth Defense Force Insect Armageddon for those not in the loop of an obscure Japanese franchise.
Yeah. It's well, oh no, sorry, you go ahead.
Yeah, and so I played that for a long time, and that really got me hooked. It's great fun in multiplayer, but the single player, it's okay, 18 hours on Insect Armageddon, but still. And I sort of chalked up the fact that it ran like ass to me playing it on a laptop. I haven't played it on my PC yet. But I just had so much fun with it, you know? There's like 4 different classes. There's the trooper, which is like boring. There's the aerialist, which is my favorite. He's got like a boost. He's got a jetpack. He's got all these cool shit.
What more do you need?
There's a battle armor that has like miniguns and heavy rocket launchers and stuff. There's the tactician that mostly does like SMGs but can drop like turrets and support stuff. And the new Earth Defense Force has similar classes but not exactly the same.
Okay.
But it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, that it's funny because I was gonna make this point before I rudely interrupted you, but Earth Defense Force is not like it just reminds you of the series that you just don't really get anymore in the sense that game development has gotten so incredibly expensive that you don't get those weird cult games you see on like the PS1 and PS2 days of the gaming generations.
No, they usually have to go to Kickstarter nowadays.
They have to either go to Kickstarter, they're either small indie games, and even then indie games are usually more, smaller scale, either 2D or, like, indie games are still sort of in that, NES, SNES era sort of revival, though that's obviously moving away from that a bit and just expanding their horizons massively with stuff like The Witness and the upcoming No Man's Sky.
I mean, there's like, as far as revival stuff goes, I mean, like, Ukulele exists.
Yeah, that's a good
at
example.
a time. That's like N64 revival. I don't know, like, I mean, we're seeing a couple franchises from the PS2 days coming back. There's a new Ratchet and Clank game coming out, for example, that doesn't look terrible. Because All for One apparently kind of was.
Oh yeah, that like after All for One, they kind of went really off the rails because they finished the Future trilogy, which was Tools of Destruction, Crank in Time. Oh no, Crank in Time was the third one, and then Quest for Booty. And then afterwards, it just kind of went off the rails. They sort of started experimenting with the franchise when no one was really asking for that. They just wanted more Ratchets. And now we're getting a movie, and that movie comes a game, which looks really good.
Exactly. So, there's obviously still a market for it.
Yeah, but I'm talking about those really, really culty, smaller games, kind of like that Metal Wolf Chaos game from Software that people are really hyped about.
Yeah, exactly.
Let me think. Mr. Mosquito. But
oh, I remember Mr. Mosquito.
Yeah, and just these kind of weird games that you just don't see anymore because game budgets have gone too expensive to make those type of games.
Yeah, so you have to like get smaller studios to.
Yeah.
And I mean, even with like slightly less major franchises, like Dragon Quest, for example. It's Dragon Quest and Ace Attorney that really they really have to fight to be released in the West.
Yeah.
Because they're so niche, like I know Earth Defense Force is like, it has a very dedicated fan base, myself included, but let's not like mince words here. It's a very niche game.
Yeah.
It's not popular by any stretch of the imagination. So a game like this that is very Japanese, it's a very Japanese game coming to the West at all. And I mean, like the PS3 version of Earth Defense Force 4.1, which is the new one. The current gen version of the last gen version, sorry, of the current release came out like last April in Japan. So I've had to wait almost a full year for it to come out here. And it came out and the remaster came out in December, I think, in the US. And so I had to wait like 2 months on top of that to finally get it to come out here in Europe, because its official launch date was February 12th.
But hey, just think about it. You finally have it. You've been playing it for about a week now.
A week? I got it 2 days ago.
Oh, okay. I thought you said February 12th.
Well, that's when it launched. I ordered it from the UK because they also gave me a T-shirt with it.
Nice.
And that took a bit longer to arrive. I'm actually wearing it right now. It's
free
very
swag.
Well, free. I mean, I had to pay extra for it, obviously, but
Okay.
it was the only place to get that shirt.
Yeah.
And it is pretty sweet. It's like the EDF logo, and it's very comfortable. So I can't complain.
Okay. Fair enough. Yeah, my gaming week has mostly been more Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth.
Yeah,
Uh,
you have been playing a shit ton of that.
yeah, it's been just something that I like to. It's a very mindless game when you're just sort of playing it like on the go, just grinding a bit. Like the story is kind of nonsensical right now, but at the same time, it's just a lot of fun. And yeah, I'm still very much enjoying it, though it's very bad at explaining shit. It's definitely something you have to, okay, what does this mean? What does that mean? Because there's, for example, your Digimon needs 10% CAM to be able to Digivolve, which is like, okay, what's CAM? And then later on, you have to, like, I have to look up on the internet, that's supposed to mean camaraderie. It's basically the friendship in Pokemon, where the more you battle with it, the more, like, friendlier it is. And then, but
Not gonna lie. You and Shiro
yeah.
are tweeting about it a lot, and I kind of want to get this game now.
Okay, that's awesome that you're willing to try. Like, he is playing the PS4 version of it, and I'm, like, I have the Vita version, and I'm, like, that's how it originally started. Like, it is a Vita game originally, and I'm not sure, like, how much the PS4 version adds. Besides, apparently, the Digivolve song that's in that's, super popular in the West. But, it's definitely something like, if you're a fan or just, curious about it, I'd say definitely check it out. But, and also just if you're in the mood for a Pokemon style RPG, which, you can never go wrong with.
Yeah, like, because I actually played one of the games in the series. I played Digimon World Dawn for a bit.
Oh, the Dawn of Dusk series,
Yeah,
yeah.
I played Dawn, and I actually really enjoyed that. That game was really fun.
Yeah.
And I think I had it on my R4, so I didn't play it for.
Ooh, piracy.
Okay, look, you
Yeah,
had one
no,
as well.
no, I understand. No
You
worries.
had one too. Shut up.
I know.
Uh,
That was the only way to really get games,
See, exactly. Yeah, because like either you bought an R4 and downloaded ROMs, or you bought pirated versions. So
yeah. Anyway to it, the creators were boned, so, yeah.
yeah,
It's gotten a lot better, actually. When I was back in Malaysia, I was able to buy real games quite easily.
excellent.
Okay. But, moving on, like, I also played another game, a Blast from the Past, because we've been kind of in this Pokemon mood for a while now, since the anniversary is coming up really soon. I've been working on this project, which should be coming out in the next few days.
Ooh, fun.
And, just, it's been all like Pokemon this, Pokemon that. So I caved in and I bought Pokemon Stadium 2 for the Nintendo 64 again.
Oh,
Because I sold my old copy a long time ago, have regretted it ever since, and finally found a decently priced one. Because the game is surprisingly expensive on, like, secondhand. But now I have it again. Its gold and silver, cartridge is mine, once more.
I really love that game. I was fucking rad at the mini games.
Oh, the mini games are so much fun. Also in Pokemon Stadium itself, like, the mini games are so much fun to play, with friends. Like, there's let's see, in Pokemon Stadium 2, you have the Donphan race, you have, the Furret Soccer-esque game.
Oh, I was really good at the Hitmontop one.
Yeah, the spinning one.
I could kick your ass at that game, at least back in the day.
Yeah, it's been a while since then, and I only have one really good Nintendo 64 controller, so I haven't really, done much multiplayer yet with it, but it is real, like, it's a blast from the past for sure. Like, Pokemon Stadium probably has more nostalgic value to me, but Pokemon Stadium 2 is a really good sequel to that formula, and it's kind of, let's see, like, they kind of deviated from the formula afterwards, like, with the GameCube era, we obviously got Colosseum and XD Gale of Darkness, which were more standard RPG affairs, but not necessarily Pokemon. Or, well, like the classic type of Pokemon that we, played on the portables.
I
The,
never I never played XD Gale of Darkness, but I actually really like the idea of it.
it's alright. It's, it's a fun sequel to Colosseum.
You know, I've said this for like a long time, not in public, but to like friends and stuff. I'm legitimately surprised they didn't revive the Pokemon Stadium franchise on like the 3DS.
Yeah, but the like kind of the weird thing is that there was because it did like there is a technical Pokemon Stadium 3, and that's Battle Revolution on the Wii. And Battle,
Yeah, but that's on the Wii. You know, I'm specifically saying 3DS.
yeah, but at the same time, like, why bother when like you can just get the normal portable games, the X and Y and Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire.
Yeah, I suppose, but like it is a very different format, and you know there is something to be said for like having a very different approach to like specifically the type of competitive battling that Pokemon Stadium had, where you kind of like you didn't really have very much control over what Pokemon you used unless you know brought them over from your own cartridge games.
Yeah, that's
And
sort of like you can of course rent the Pokemon there, and there's it's always an interesting strategy because the more like the smaller evolutions have the best moves, and the bigger and like the big evolutions, like your Blastoise, have the best stats but the worst moves.
yeah, so like what so and one thing that I really liked about it as like a competitive experience is just like you had the actual stadium mode, you know, and there were like all these different rule sets that you could use. You could do like Pokemon only up to level 5. You could do like I don't know. I can't remember because it's been like ages since I played these games.
Yeah, the
Like
little cup. There's the normal.
exactly, and that as far as I know doesn't really exist in the mainline handheld Pokemon games. So
That's not completely true. There's online tournaments that are on X and Y, Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, where there are these time rules like, okay, little cup, so only like non.
oh, okay. I didn't actually know that. So thank you for
So there
correct.
is that. So technically, that is there. It's just not an available option in the game itself.
Okay, then never mind. Then I'm completely wrong.
Yeah, but yeah, there's it's a fun game. So, and I've only played very little bit of it, but I'm planning to go through the gym leaders, and there's like the person that I bought it from obviously didn't get very far in it. It's the third gym at like stage 1, because there's 2 main stages to it, and stage 2 I remember being ridiculously hard. And I tried to see if I could maybe use my old Pokemans from the Gold Silver Crystal days, but those saves are gone. Which I already knew, but always worth a shot. Like my red and blue copies have survived, but that's about it.
Yeah, you were talking about that earlier on Twitter, where it's just like it's weird that red and blue are still like perfectly fine, but gold and silver. Yeah, I know actually a number of people whose like specifically gold silver crystal cartridges have crapped out on them, but the red and blue are still work fine.
I guess it's something to do with the difference between Game Boy games and Game Boy Color games. That's my only real assumption on it, because I don't know, like, what's the deal with it is. And I've always thought about maybe replacing the batteries so that I could play them, for realsies again, but, like I checked it again on the Game Boy, like I got the Game Boy Color out again, and it's funny just how awful the screen is. Like you really have to hold it in front of a lamp to see properly.
Oh yeah,
It's like I played games like this back in the day, so just like how?
I don't
But
know.
yeah, Pokemon Stadium 2, yeah, I can use my Pokemon Red Pokemon, who are insanely badass, but for the rest, tough luck.
Hmm.
But yeah, that was quite the nostalgia trip for me personally. But do you want to move on to some news?
Yes, because things actually happened in the week that didn't involve us.
Yeah, there's been a whole bunch of stuff going on. Like there's uh it's some smaller stories, but it's definitely worth talking about in the sense of, okay, there's definitely a lot of discussion to be had here. Like, obviously, there's the Nintendo, like starting their accounting and the Miitomo, but, it's hard to really get into that when we still know relatively little about that.
So that happened. Next story.
Yeah, okay, we've got a bunch of stories, and as always, I'm gonna name these topics and I'll let you decide what we're gonna talk about.
All right, hit me.
Okay, uh, Warren Spector, Street Fighter V, Knack, Fallout 4.
All right, let's do Knack first because that one makes me laugh.
Okay, apparently there's some, like a guy on the, a guy or girl, I'm not sure, but someone who worked in 3D animation posted on their on their LinkedIn account that they worked on animated 3D character motions and cutscenes for a Knack 2. And if you may not know, Knack was a PS4 launch game made by, what is his name, pass me by, Mark Cerny, I believe, who was one of the original developers behind Crash Bandicoots. And
It showed.
you know, but anyway, that was one of the big PS4 launch games.
Tech
And
demos, let's be honest.
yeah, let's be fair in the sense that it's very much a launch game through and through. And Knack was one of the first games I played on the PS4 at an event.
It
And
was the first game that you played, right?
yeah, and it looks gorgeous. Like, I got a good impression from that small bit of gameplay, and it looked absolutely gorgeous, and it still does. But
Absolutely, yeah, but it just kind of plays like ass.
I haven't I haven't bought it, and I haven't really played it since. And maybe it is a game that needs a sequel, like gone from the whole launch window thing, and just be able to spread its wings.
Here's hoping, because, like, I don't know. I don't want to, like, talk up Knack too much, because it honestly wasn't all that good of a game. But, like, there's potential hope for it to still be good, so it's just
Exactly.
weird because I don't feel like anyone particularly liked Knack all that much. So the fact, I mean, maybe they have that much faith in the franchise that they really want to try and make something with this time. But I can't imagine it's because that they're making another one for money reasons.
I'm not sure like how well Knack sold, but yeah, it's just something. Yeah, like more of a like they need more children's franchises or something like franchises that are more meant for kids, and maybe that has something to do with it. But yeah, I can't really say that I personally care about a Knack 2, but if they do, if they find more of a balance, especially now that they no longer have the pressure of being a launch game, there's maybe something, to it that they can do. Okay, other stories. Bethesda, or Fallout 4, Warren Spector, Street Fighter 5.
Let's do Warren Spector next. This is
Okay,
actually pretty exciting.
yeah, Warren Spector is of course the very famous developer that, worked on the likes of Deus Ex. He is the lead behind that project and one of the, um, largely credited as one of the best designers, working, in the game industry. He had a bit of a bit of a rough patch with, his last games, which was the Epic Mickey series.
One which was like okay, and two which was pretty bad.
Exactly. Like, it was a series that was filled with potential and ultimately, kind of petered out due to what seems to be focus groups and all that stuff. But he has joined up with Other Side Entertainment, and people are like, okay, what's Other Side Entertainment? What are they working on? Who are they? Well, they're largely people who worked on Looking Glass Studios, which was the people behind the likes of System Shock, Ultima Underworld, Thief, and all that good stuff. And that first franchise is of course of note because they, Other Side is working on a System Shock 3.
You know
As
what?
we,
Oh, sorry.
and now Warren Spector is leading on that project. And he was actually a producer of the first System Shock. So it's kind of like coming back. And yeah, it's pretty exciting stuff when you think about it. Someone who's like he's free from the system now. He gets to do his own thing. He gets to work on a property people really like and modernize it again. And yeah, it's definitely something to look forward to.
You know what my favorite thing with Warren Spector is though? There was a GameSpot interview in like 2001 or 2002. I'm sure you've seen this screen cap floating around the internet. It's
Oh yeah, I know what you mean.
yeah, where it's just like we credit the work of teams to individuals far too often, says Warren Spector, the creator of System Shock and Deus Ex.
Yeah. Games journalism.
Games journalism in the early 2000s specifically. That was a weird time.
Yeah.
Like people complain that that games journalism is a marketing mouthpiece nowadays. Oh boy.
It's gotten a lot better.
Yeah,
But,
definitely.
it's still, but that's exciting stuff.
Yeah, Warren Spector is a very talented man. He's got he's got a pretty good track record, Epic Mickey notwithstanding. Specifically Epic
Like,
Mickey
even
2,
that I like Epic Mickey a lot.
number
I
1.
think yeah, the first one. And it's not without flaws. Its camera is fucking awful. But, there's certainly, you can see the ambition there and the love that went into it. And certainly the ideas there. It's not the concept art that we saw back in 2008, the very dark thing that we saw. And that was, that looked really cool.
And then that didn't happen exactly. So,
yeah.
a little bit disappointing. But
I
yeah,
was so unnecessarily hyped for Epic Mickey back when it came out.
I was a little bit hyped, and I didn't even have a Wii.
Yeah. But then it all kind of fell apart with Epic Mickey 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, moving on to the last two things. Fallout 4 or Street Fighter 5?
Street Fighter 5, because I want to talk about the Lupe fiasco.
Okay. There's, as you probably know, Street Fighter 5 launched. It's the big game right now after XCOM 2 was before that. And there's been some interesting stuff going on surrounding it. Let's first, since you want to talk about the Lupe fiasco thing, let's talk about that first.
Yeah, okay, so recently, I don't exactly remember the date, but recently, Lupe Fiasco was in the news in regards to Street Fighter. Because at a special, because apparently Lupe Fiasco was asked on Twitter if he watched EVO. He said yes, but only to study Daigo. Daigo being the best the best Street Fighter player on the planet.
Okay, and let's just quickly give context, like, who is Lupe Fiasco?
Lupe Fiasco is a rapper.
Yeah.
I'm not really familiar with much of his work, but he's supposed to be very good. So yeah, he was asked on Twitter, he said yes, and he studies Daigo specifically. Daigo is pretty much the best in the world. He's literally a professional. He's on Mad Catz' gaming team. So a dude from Mad Catz actually asks Lupe Fiasco over Twitter. It's just like, hey, do you want to fight Daigo on Street Fighter? And he's like, fuck yes. Yeah. So
then,
that actually happened, and it was like it got like a really cool dark poster and something and stuff. So Daigo gets flown to the US, and then like it's like a very exclusive event. Like it's not even open to the public, but there was like commentary. This was recorded and stuff. And Daigo, I imagine, was probably expecting to just wreck Lupe Fiasco, just destroy him. That didn't end up happening.
No.
Because he actually loses. It was a best out of 5 match. So they did, I think, 3 round. They did 3 rounds per game.
Yeah.
So, and they did play 5 matches. And Lupe Fiasco, it was tight, but he won with 3 matches to 2-1. And it's kind of amazing because I did actually watch the whole thing. And at the time, like, he had just won his 3rd match, and he's just like, okay, let's do another one. I'm ready to keep going. And then people were like, "No, you won." And he's like, "What? I won? Oh my god! Ah!"
Yeah.
And it was honestly kind of heartwarming because Lupe, he was like super respectful. He he shakes hands with Daigo. He like bows and stuff. As a show of respect both before and after the competition. And he even gave Daigo his like one of a kind limited edition Metal Gear Solid jacket that he was wearing to the event, just as like a because he was. I don't think even he was expecting to win, but
No.
he was just like he knew he was good. Definitely, it's clear that he is good. But Daigo's the best.
Yeah. It's
Uh,
been it's a crazy story, and
yeah,
to be fair, let's be fair about this for Daigo's sake. For his ego, maybe. In the fact that Street Fighter V hadn't really launched yet, he's obviously the best in Street Fighter 4, and 5 is a bit different. That doesn't, of course, mean that that he isn't skilled at it already. But
plus he like the match was on the same day that he arrived. I think like he like literally I think 4 hours after landing he had the match. So there's a lot of extenuating circumstances, but like it was a pretty tight victory. It was like I think Lupe got the first match. They sort of went back and forth. It was 2-on-2. They both won 2 games, so it was very much a tiebreaker, and Lupe ended up winning. But it's just like it's such a crazy story, and I kind of loved watching it. But that's not
yeah,
actually why we're talking about this.
yeah, like Street Fighter 5, it of course. Uh, it's a bit weird in that the game itself, like the actual fighting behind it, is great. People are really digging that. They love the new characters. They love the old characters. Everything is all well and good. However, the actual game could use some work. Or rather, it is extremely bare bones right now.
Yeah,
It's been called unfinished. There's no things such as lobbies. Let me think. The online matchmaking is a little off. The story mode is not there. There's no campaign mode, which is being added. The characters, there's not a whole lot of them right now, especially when you compare it to the launch of Street Fighter 4. Um, and basically, people aren't happy it's, that they basically are paying $60 for a game that is this unfinished right now. At least on you know, not necessarily on a gameplay level, but pretty much everywhere else.
see, like, yeah, it's just the main issue that a lot of people have. It's just severely lacking for content, and the reason for that is the same reason that Splatoon is a thing. Like Splatoon, it launched with a decent amount of content, and then they like post-launch started adding stuff to it, and they're going to do the same thing here with Street Fighter V. But
Yeah,
it's just apparently, like you said, the matchmaking doesn't work properly. The online matchmaking doesn't work properly. And I've read like forums of people talking about like they're being kicked out of the game because the servers aren't working, even if they're playing single player. Um, which is frustrating.
yeah,
And kind of a dumb move. But yeah, Capcom kind of really screwed the pooch on this one.
yeah. It's kind of either they maybe should have delayed it a bit if they wanted to, add a bit more to the game, but it seems like they wanted to get it ready for Evo and all the fighting game stuff that's going on.
That makes sense, I guess.
But yeah, the big issues right now is that obviously, like this is a game that's going to be so different in a couple of months that by that point, like all the issues are gone. Like all the content is there and everything's okay. And it's a bit weird because we live in this era where games are being updated. The games that we got are no longer that's no longer it. And that's sort of like it's like unless you just want the fighting, there's maybe like it's probably best to wait to get Street Fighter 5 when it's up to a state where you think, okay, now there's so much stuff that I can just go and have a lot of fun with everything. because otherwise, yeah, I can imagine feeling ripped off if you paid $60 for it and get so little out of it now.
Yeah.
Like, again, taking a look at what Splatoon did. Splatoon didn't have a lot of stuff
And
when
it
it
was
first launched.
criticized for that at launch as
It
well.
was it was criticized for that, exactly. Like, but there was still, it felt finished. Like, the online worked. It's like, there was the single player, there was all these kinds of things. It was sort of finished. It was just like there's a lack of content there. And that content slowly introduced itself constantly. And now Splatoon is a very robust experience.
I'll take your word for it. I haven't played it.
It's very fun, but, yeah, like, I can only imagine the same will happen to Street Fighter V. It seems that like you said, they screwed the pooch and kept they kept too much content of it for now, when it should have probably, made just a slightly bit bigger, instead of it now feeling like we're paying for a beta or early access.
Yeah, that's the main complaint that I've heard is just like it's basically a $60 early access game, which is honestly, it's unacceptable. Like to have
Yeah,
like AAA publishers basically doing early access, that's unacceptable. You can't just do that.
yeah, okay. Do you have anything more to add, or shall we move on to our last, thing?
Let's move on.
Okay. So Fallout 4, it's been out for a while, since November. I've played it, beaten it, loved it. And we all know, of course, that Bethesda is generally pretty good with its DLC, right? We saw what they had, the Shivering Isles in Oblivion, all the content that was added in Fallout 3, Skyrim, New Vegas. They know their way around DLC. So of course, they had their season pass, $30, and you kind of already knew, okay, we know that we're gonna get some good stuff out of it. Since then, they have announced their plan, because they have free add-ons planned for March, April, May, and one of them costs $9.99, and then the other one is $5, and then the other one is $25. So already, like, okay, that's pretty big. And yeah, what basically happened is that Bethesda announced the game the DLC plan was getting far bigger than they initially planned. And with that, have raised the season pass price from $30 to $50.
Or at least will be raising.
We'll be raising it by March 1st. That's when they officially raised the price. So if you haven't gotten it yet, now's the time. And yeah, that's of course all a bit icky to suddenly just raise the price like that. And it's all under the guise of, oh, rewarding the fans who believe in us and all that stuff. And yeah, like, we know it's gonna probably be good stuff, but at the same time, raising the price almost double, kind of a dick move.
It is, honestly. Cause I mean, I don't know. I don't really know how to put this into words because A, I haven't played Fallout 4, so I can't really speak to quality or not. But see, the thing is,
Yeah, the thing is, it's super expensive as well for a season pass, because like, I think there was such a big hubbub when Battlefront's season pass was $50.
yeah, okay, so I don't entirely agree with you that Bethesda knows their way around DLC. Cause like Bethesda's quality can like vary greatly. Like there's a lot of variety in like how good something Bethesda makes is.
They usually make really good DLC. There are
So
some not great ones. There's of course the infamous Horse Armor in Oblivion, but
yeah, okay. So my main issue here is that, and I guess that's more an issue with like the idea of season passes in general, because like are you willing to like risk um are you willing to take that risk and put down $50 for things that you don't even we don't as far as I know we don't even know what's in the content packs.
That is generally the risk you take with season passes, yeah.
And $50 up from the 30 that people were expecting to have to pay. That is a lot of faith to expect from, I don't know, like, I generally like Bethesda, but to say that they don't, like, they can be quite unreliable at times in the sense that they have, like, pretty bad launches for most of their games, and
Yeah. The
so,
sad truth about it is that I'm probably gonna pick up the season pass before, the big price hike. And I feel that's like the big plan of, that they don't immediately do it to just, to entice people who haven't picked up, the season pass. And I was gonna pick it up anyway, but, the thing was that I didn't have the money at the time. I do now, but then there was the whole, thing of, and I didn't think about it afterwards. And then suddenly this thing happened. She was like, oh shit, I should probably get it before the price is raised. And I can assume there are a lot of people who think that way.
probably, yeah.
Yeah, that's probably their main mentality about it. Okay, we're gonna raise it so that people who haven't gotten it yet will go and get it for the normal price. Because they have said the people that have already paid $30 will not, be, screwed over. They will still get the same content.
Yeah,
So,
and
yeah.
it's just weird because then, like, the same content, people paid less money for the same content in a situation where there wasn't a sale. It's weird because these things usually go the other way around,
Yeah.
that they drop in price over time instead of raise the price over time.
It's all a bit weird. So, yeah, let's just see how it goes. Let's see how the DLC is first, of course.
Well,
Uh,
that's kind of impossible because
yeah. Hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just a really, really strange situation that I don't really know how to like.
Respond to.
I
And
don't
I,
really know how to respond to it. Yeah.
same. It's, yeah, we'll wait and see how it goes and the inevitable fallout of it all. It was too easy. I'm sorry. Okay. I think that's about it for the news stories. Do you want to talk some games?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So we're reaching the end of February and basically, like we've talked up to Fire Emblem Fates now, which is coming on the 19th. But our list would be a little shorter if it wasn't for the fact that Europe has come to save the day. I just remembered this
Okay.
on the top of my head because there's two cool 3DS games coming really soon to Europe, which one has been already out for a while in the US, and one of which is won't be till April in the US. So they're
Okay.
getting it a little early. Well, very early actually. And I guess that pays for the fact that we aren't getting Fire Emblem Fates yet. But, yeah, I won't, keep you too, like the first game that we're talking about is Pokemon Super Mystery Dungeon. The king of the Pokemon theme.
I thought that game came out ages ago in the US, didn't it?
Yeah, in November 20th. And we're
Yeah.
getting it at time of recording tomorrow.
Oh,
Yeah. So yeah, Pokemon
weird.
Mystery Dungeon has, you know, it's it's been running for a while now since the Game Boy Advance
Yeah,
slash
I
DS
played
days. It was kind of
the
in
Game Boy
between.
Advanced one. I played because that was Red Rescue Team, and then DS had Blue Rescue Team,
Yeah, correct.
and then there was Explorers of Sky and Darkness, and then there was
Time and Darkness, and then Time, and then Sky, yeah. And
okay.
then there was Gates to Infinity.
Was that the 3DS one?
Yeah.
The first 3D? Yeah, I played the demo of that. I wasn't too impressed.
Yeah, I heard not a lot of people were that it was extremely simplified for a game that was all like it removed the complicated elements of Super Mystery Dungeon.
Oh, that's the best part.
Yeah, exactly. And I heard like Super Mystery Dungeon adds them back again. It's like it's the best reviewed Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, and none of them are particularly well received by the critics.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
like
they are a bit weird, but like I dig them.
yeah, they're a bit repetitive gameplay wise. If you've played one part, you play them all. Because the first, like Time of Darkness, which is people consider the best one, especially like I was just looking at the Wikipedia page for it recently, and I saw the funniest thing on its reception.
Do tell.
Okay, the game is usually criticized on its repetitive gameplay, but heavily praised for its mature, heartwarming story. The story has been acclaimed as one of the best of all time, which is why the Mystery Dungeon series continues to be a more favorite spin-off of the original Pokemon games.
Who said that?
No one, because there's no citation. Some fan, which hasn't been edited out yet.
Okay, because like the story of like I've played a fair bit of Explorers of Time, and like I
Yeah,
did like the story, but calling it one of the best of all time is a
the
bit
best story of all
much.
time, up there with Shakespeare and all that stuff.
I wonder how like could you imagine if like Shakespeare was alive today? What kind of cool shit he would write?
I don't know. We'll see. Like, he's been dead for 300 years. Or, nah, that's maybe a bit. But, like, I've played and beat Pokemon Explorers of Time and Darkness. I'm not sure which one exactly. I'm not sure even if there is a real difference between them. The story is okay. It's good for Pokemon standards. There are some nice moments in there.
And some really very surprising ones.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's just kind of like, I feel people overrate the story.
Lest we forget Dusk Noir, the bastard.
Yeah. Oh God. He was so obviously evil, but it was just kind of like, no, why?
Really?
But
I legitimately didn't see it coming.
I saw it coming. There, there was just too many obvious things, about it. But, what's done is done, and now there's, Super Mystery Dungeon. And hopefully that, keeps up the trend and people are actually, like, really digging it. I know very little about it, actually, but I hear everyone who's played it seems to dig it. Which seems to be also the case with, Simon Darkness, so I'm just kinda like, okay, I'll check it out when I have the months. Um, alrighty then, moving on to a game that is coming out worldwide February. On February 23rd, we're getting Far Cry Primal.
Which at the same time is like I expected it to have come out by now, but on the other hand, I'm like I kind of thought that it wouldn't be out for ages.
Yeah, I had the same thing. I was only like I was just kind of thinking, oh yeah, that looked cool. I'm interested in it. And then suddenly, oh shit, it's out in a week.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, let's just get like, it's very different from the other Far Cry's, which is what you get when you set it in 10,000 BC. But, I don't know, like, after that okay, oh wow, this looks cool. I like the caveman aspect of it all. I've just been kind of very, on the whole thing, and maybe that's just kind of burnout from the Far Cry series.
I mean, I've never been like too hot on the Far Cry series. I know a lot of people really dig Far Cry 3, and it's like I think it's a pretty okay game, but I'm not
Oh, I
like
love Far Cry 3.
it's just like I'm not really into stealth games to begin with, and then like
Yeah, you do need to be, like, I like the stealth aspect of it.
and like Blood Dragon really soured me on it, but I've beaten that horse too many times. Um on podcasts as well.
Yeah.
Actually no.
Yes,
Like once
you've
because
talked about it.
I talked about it at length on the first episode which we never released. So technically no.
Okay.
Um
But, yeah, and I think Far Cry 4 very much soured on me, in that it very much, like, it almost feels bad to say that a game that obviously had so much effort pulled into it, just kind of felt the same.
They pulled a Ubisoft, which is logical because it's Ubisoft.
Yeah,
They did the same thing just with more stuff in it.
yeah. And now, of course, they do something completely different with it, with the new caveman part of it. But even then, I'm just still like, I don't know. And I shouldn't feel that way about a game where you can ride mammoths and saber-toothed tigers.
Can
That
you
just,
ride them?
yeah,
Huh. I know you can hunt them, but I didn't know you could ride them.
yeah, I'm just like, that should be my jam. That should be fucking awesome. And it looks awesome, but at the same time, I've just been kind of, I'll wait and see when it comes out.
I mean, wild is still a thing, so
Yeah, but that's not coming out for a while, so. Um, yeah, moving on then, I assume, unless you have something more to say about it.
nah.
Okay. Uh, moving on from one AAA game to the next from another odd one is Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare 2.
Which my biggest memory with Plants vs Zombies Garden Warfare 2 is apparently it had the most boring goddamn presentation at E3.
Uh, what happened?
Yeah,
I,
there was the zombie in the superhero outfit with Kenny Loggins music.
yeah,
That
exactly.
happened for way too long, and then they went into this long spiel about just content updates and all this boring crap, and then the preview went way too long.
Yeah,
And I've seen some gameplay of it, and it looks more or less the same as the first one,
yeah.
just
It,
with
it,
some new plants and zombies in it.
yeah. It's fun you mentioned the E3 thing because it came right after Unravel. And, after that, was this whole sweet thing, it felt something very personal from the heart. Like, oh, everyone was all, happy and soft and kind. And then all of a sudden, Loggins' Danger Zone place and everything. Like, it was just the biggest mood whiplash, possible. And it was just like, okay. And I don't know, like Garden Warfare, it was a cute idea, but then,
It got old.
yeah, it just kind of feels, okay, now the joke is kind of old. And I'm
And
sure that there's people that are playing it and they'll enjoy it, but at the same, I don't know.
I mean, and it's also a multiplayer only um AAA release with microtransactions, so that's
True that.
never good to have. Also, EA is owns it.
Yeah. The weirdest thing is, I just recently found there's Plants vs. Zombies comics.
What?
Yeah, there are Plants vs. Zombies comics, and I'm just like, okay. Like, am I supposed to be invested in the rich Plants vs. Zombies lore? Or something like that? And I guess it's something kids enjoy.
I mean, kids enjoy I mean, minions are popular for some reason. Although, weirdly with middle-aged people as well.
Yeah.
Specifically minions.
Yeah.
But Minecraft is really big with the kids, so I can imagine why Plants vs Zombies would be as well. And I mean, fucking Angry Birds is still around somehow. Um,
Yeah.
I mean, they have a fucking movie coming out of Angry Birds.
Yeah,
For God's
that
sakes.
feels 3 years too late.
Well, it's an animated movie, so it takes forever to make.
Yeah, exactly. But okay, moving on. We've got Telltale making one of their games once again. This time with The Walking Dead again. This is the third time.
They had season 1 and season 2, so
Yeah, and
it's
there's
the
also
third one.
400 days, but they're making a mini series following Michonne, who's like a big character in the TV series and comics. She's the one that she carries two walkers around
I know
on
Michonne.
chains. Okay,
I've seen some of the show.
yeah.
Apparently, in the comics, those are supposed to be her brothers,
Ugh.
but in the series, it's just two random zombies.
Yeah. Walkers.
Oh, excuse me. See, this is what really fucks me off, right? And people have talked about this before. Why is it in so many zombie movies that they take place in a world where zombie movies don't exist.
I don't know because
And then they always do like, oh no, they're infected, they're walkers, they're um reanimated, they're just like they're zombies. That's what I like about World War Z, the book. It's just like, look, they're zombies.
yeah,
Okay, look. I
yeah,
mean, we watched fucking Dawn of the Dead. They're zombies.
yeah. I don't know. It's just a trope, I guess. But yeah, this again is not based on the series. It's based on the comic books. Like it's a brief interlude, and when she apparently left the group for a bit. So yeah, it's a mini series. It will only have like 3 episodes.
But hey, it's Michonne, and Michonne is fucking rad.
Exactly, Michonne is pretty darn rad. So yeah, moving on then. We've got a little to take away a bit from the AAA games, and technically, like, would you consider Telltale AAA or?
I'd consider them like double A.
Yeah,
You know, a major name, but not like huge budgets.
yeah. Oh, definitely not huge budgets. But we're going to a smaller game, and this time called The Flame and in the Flood, which is made by the likes of like ex-devs from uh, people who worked on Bioshock, on Halo, on Rock Band. It had a very successful crowdfunding campaign, I see.
Yeah, definitely. And it's like a sort of top-down survival-y kind of game with just a really like the biggest thing I really like about it is just it's got an amazing aesthetic.
Yeah, it looks very nice.
It looks very nice. And apparently, I mean, I haven't seen a very recent build of it. I've seen like a preview build or like an early access kind of build, and it looks sort of like okay-ish. I mean, I'm not that into survival games, but like,
Yeah, that's what's kind of throwing me off as well. I'm not huge on the survival games, but I do like pretty much all the people that are working there and on the game.
so it's definitely worth a look if for no other reason than that friggin' amazing art style.
Yeah,
And you know, it's like at least it makes an effort of having like a premise for why you need to survive. There's like a really big flood happened and I think you're trying to get home or something. There's bits
yeah,
where you actually have to like travel along the river and try to avoid obstacles and stuff.
yeah,
And it's got a real feeling of like permanence to it because river travel is one way.
yeah,
Like you can't go back up the river because the current is just too strong. So anything you leave behind, you're not getting back.
exactly. So yeah, it definitely looks interesting. Something definitely, if you're into that genre, the roguelike survival games, kind of like your Don't Starves, but with people from Bioshock and Halo behind it.
Yeah,
It,
that's it. It really reminded me of Don't Starve. That's the one.
yeah. So yeah, maybe we're checking out. I think with that we have our last game actually from at least, let me see. Yeah, we've got one last game from one indie game with a big Kickstarter to another indie game with a big Kickstarter. Here comes Super Hot, Super Hot, etc., etc., etc. Yeah, super. Like I remember the first Kickstarter page for it, and that was really big at the time.
I honestly I don't remember that at all. But like I know now that it's a Kickstarter success.
Yeah,
It's a sweet game.
yeah,
Like I've seen Jacksepticeye, he was one of the backers for it, and so he played like the backer only alpha build on his channel. And even that, like I would legitimately play that game like right now.
yeah. It looks super cool. Basically, the entire premise is, uh, it's a shooter. It's a first-person shooter, and time only really moves when you move.
Yeah, that's changed now. Like time moves very slowly
Yeah,
when you're not moving. Like very, very slowly.
yeah,
Like slow enough that you can like slice bullets in half using a katana if you time it right.
Yeah. And basically, it's just a very unique game in a genre that, let's face it, isn't facing a whole lot. It doesn't really get that uniqueness all the time.
And the like low poly art style and like the weird sort of cyberpunky kind of setting and aesthetic that it has really like helps sort of set it apart a bit.
Yeah, and obviously there's the whole slicing the bullets thing and just the whole dodging them and that kind of stuff. It's very Matrix esque, and very few games I think have really captured that, except like maybe Max Payne with its slow mo features.
What? You're not gonna give credit to the granddaddy of them all, Drake of the 99 Dragons?
Yeah, sure, I'll give Drake his due, but
I've never played that game, and I kind
I've
of,
seen the pro chair. It's
yeah, that's entirely what I'm basing it on because it looks awful.
yeah, but it's basically just it's basically just one big fight scene, like straight out of a John Woo film. And the cool thing is just the whole slowdown thing. And I'm definitely curious about it. And I want to see. I want to play it myself and sort of, you know, figure out, because it's almost a puzzle game in a way.
Yeah, I don't think there's been a game like an action game like this that has like basically put the player completely in charge of excuse me. Yeah, that has put the player completely in charge of how the game works. Like you literally play it at your own pace because you entirely control the pace.
Yeah, I'm curious about it. It's definitely like out of all the games, when we're done with picking out like talking about the games, we choose the game that stands out the most. It's definitely the game for me that stands out the most, and definitely the game out of that list is the one that I want to play, the one right now.
Same, definitely. I've wanted to play it for ages.
It's been like its Kickstarter was back in 2014, I believe, so it's been like early 2014, so it's been a while.
Well, that definitely shows that they're putting the time in to make it good.
Yeah, exactly. So looking forward to that.
And like I said, I mean the backer only alpha build looked really good by itself,
Yeah.
even though it was like unfinished. And if that isn't like a shining endorsement of a game that I haven't played.
What else is?
Exactly.
Okay, moving on to the question hour, which we actually have questions now, or rather we have one question, not related to video games, but, yeah, do you want to do the honors, or have you not?
Sure, yes. Um we have every time we record, we ask for questions and we usually get one, sometimes more. And this week, again, we have one question from, as always, our wonderful friend, the Stickman,
Mm-hmm.
asking what our favorite cinema experience is.
Ah, okay. Now this is there's been a bunch. I recently had a really good one with Deadpool, which, just had a lot of people. Like, everyone was so in tune with the movie. Everyone was laughing at the jokes. Everyone was having just a really, really good time. And it was a fun thing at the end where people, there's a moment like right after the credits, which I won't spoil for the people that haven't seen it yet.
Like me.
Exactly. But, where there were people who were just like going, woo! And just a bunch of people were just like, okay, what does this mean? It was something very much out of the comic books. But when the movie itself was busy, like everyone was in tune with it. But probably my favorite cinema experience was watching The Avengers in Guadalajara, Mexico
Oh.
on its premiere, which was, again, like everyone was in tune with it. It was super busy. Everyone was having a really good time, like laughing, clapping, all the good time. And the Mexican people are passionate. They get really passionate about the stuff, and they were just like super into the movie, and I had a really good time.
I have two stories that are like on completely different opposite sides of the spectrum. My like most audience involved cinema experience was Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2.
Oh, okay, that's definitely very like Harry Potter and Deathly Hallows Part 2 was a very emotional one for me because I watched the last movie where I watched the first one.
See, here's the thing. I'm not that into Harry Potter.
hmm
I read the first book and I was just like, okay, eh. And I watched the movies mostly just because my family was really into them. So specifically my brother and like my aunt. They were really into them, so I mostly went with them so I could, talk about it with them, and so kind of out of obligation.
Yeah.
Um, but Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2 came out when my family and I were on vacation in London.
Oh.
Yeah. So we went to see it, I think, like the day after it opened.
Uh-huh.
And it was nuts. Like,
Yeah.
people were in costume. You could get special, like, Harry Potter 3D glasses that were, like, the round lenses and stuff. Like,
Okay.
like his glasses from the first movie. Um, and people were, like, super into it. It was beautiful. It was kind of amazing
Yeah.
just to see, because, like, I didn't really have that connection with this series because I wasn't really into it and still am not.
Yeah.
But just seeing the genuine love that people had for it makes you feel something special.
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah, I had something very similar with Force Awakens. Like there was someone in a Darth Vader costume, rooting the crowd. I got Stormtrooper 3D glasses out of it.
nice.
Yeah. So, just wanted to say that very quickly. But what was your second one?
My second one is a completely on the opposite side of the spectrum. When I went to see Pacific Rim,
Oh shit.
by myself.
Oh, okay. There's nothing wrong with going by yourself.
No, see, this is my favorite part of the story. Is I was in town in like I was in Leeuwarden.
Okay.
They have a very small theater there. And I was in town. I was running some errands. I think I was buying new pants or something. Either way, I was doing stuff there, and it was just like Pacific Rim is still playing. I had already seen it like twice at this point. And I was like, I really want to watch Pacific Rim again, but it isn't playing for like another 2 hours. And so what I did is I bought a ticket to the Wolverine,
Oh, okay.
which was playing in the same theater right before Pacific Rim was. So literally what I did is I watched the Wolverine to pass the time until Pacific Rim started.
Okay.
Uh, there was, let's see, in the Wolverine there were 3 other people there. No, 2 other people there. And it was a couple, and I'm pretty sure they were making out in the back throughout the entire movie. I mean, the Wolverine's not a good movie.
It's
I don't blame
it's
them.
all right until the third act, where it just kind of falls apart.
Yeah, it was like, yeah, this is definitely passing the time. And so, they were like, I was legitimately considering going up to them. It's just like, so, what was your favorite part of the movie? But I didn't. Like, they were in the back row, clearly not paying attention. I looked around sometimes because,
It was more interesting than the movie.
yeah. And then Pacific Rim started, and it was like 4 other people there, and they were actually legitimately paying attention because the movie had been out for like 3 weeks at this point.
Yeah.
The hype had, like, the high point had definitely disappeared. But I loved and still do love that movie, so I definitely really wanted to see it again. But it's just like that, like watching a movie ostensibly completely by yourself in a basically empty movie theater is kind of fun, to be honest.
It's a surreal experience. I had a very similar thing again in Mexico, but this was a very different experience because there were enough people, like there weren't enough tickets to go to a concert, and eventually I bit the bullet and was like, you know what, I won't go, and I passed the time watching movies in the theater that was there at a mall, and like the first thing I watched was the Hunger Games.
The first one?
Yeah, the very first one.
That movie was okay.
It was okay. I liked it.
Pretty good adaptation of the book, and I really liked the book, so.
Okay. I haven't read the book, and I thought it was good. But that's not the fun part about it, because I still had to pass the time because they wouldn't be back by midnight or so. And the only other movie that was playing was Michael Fassbender's Shame.
Oh,
Yeah. So I
huh.
saw Shame, a movie that advertises itself as an NC-17 movie, the one with extreme, like extremely hardcore sex.
Yeah,
Uh,
because it's about Michael Fassbender's character as a sex addict, right?
yeah,
Okay.
and I watched that in the theater. It's definitely the most mature movie I've seen in the theater for sure. But the ticket guy had to check my ID twice to ensure, like, okay, if I was old enough to see the movie and all that stuff. And it was just to pass the time, really. And it was, like, it's a downer of a movie, but it was
It
an interesting experience for sure.
I've seen it like pop up on Netflix, and I've never watched it, but it's just like it just looking at it, it's just like this is gonna be really sad, isn't it?
It's not a very fun movie, though. It never makes you want to have sex again. And on that downer, we end the podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that was, those were some of our fun 3D, no, not 3D, just our fun movie experiences, or just at least very interesting. Cause, we all have them. I remember, like a story my, cousin told me when he went to see The Ring, and there was a kid there of like
Oh.
6, and he
No,
freaked,
there's a little girl in this movie. It's totally safe for children.
yeah, and just freaking out. Like, have you seen The Ring?
No, but I know what happens, so.
Yeah, well, when the horse flips out, the kid was apparently like screaming his head off because it was that terrifying.
Well, yeah, it's the ring.
Yeah, but yeah, that's not my story. That's my cousin's story. But with that, we end the G1 Features podcast, episode 13 by now. So we're chugging along, and yeah, we're just gonna keep going with this. G1 Features is busy with all kinds of projects. We're having something really cool planned regarding the Pokemon 20th anniversary. Scroobies is entering its 50th episode very soon.
Tom the Iron Man did an interview with Craig.
I just wanted to get into that. That's Tom the Iron Man, who has gone above and beyond with G1 interviews, has done an interview with Southern Craig. You definitely need to check that out. There's plenty more with that as well, so stay tuned. And yeah, just go subscribe to G1 Features to find all that stuff. And where can they find you, Gear?
You can find me on Twitter at Gear12_Turbo and on Twitch at twitch.tv/Gear12.
Okay, where you'll be mostly streaming Earth Defense Force and nothing else.
For now.
The Soul... Are there more Earth Defense Force streamers, or...
I haven't checked, but
He has the
statistically,
solo rights to
probably.
the Earth Defense Force IP streaming rights, so,
And that has helped me because my maximum viewership on my Earth Defense Force streams is 4 people.
Exactly. So go watch his stuff. Go watch and see if Earth Defense Force 4.1 is for you. And with that, I think it is time to say goodbye and shoot some alien bugs or something.
Yep, that was my plan for the evening.
Okay, then enjoy that.
Bye!